Hi and welcome to Cook with Tom. Today we're going to make the ultimate dessert. You'd be amazed how simple it is to make a fantastic souffle. But when you do it right, you end up with this nice crunch on the outside with this really tender, delicate cake on the inside. It is absolutely fantastic. The first thing to talk about making a souffle are some of the myths. Myths such as don't make any noise when you've got a souffle in the oven because it will surely fall. Totally not true. In fact, I could yell at the oven all I wanted and wouldn't make a difference. One thing that will make a difference though is if once you've got your souffle in this cup, if you drop it and hit it pretty hard, that's going to affect your souffle. But most of the things you've heard or seen on TV or in cartoons about souffle is not true. It is so easy to make, and if you do it right, you end up with a delicious, delicious treat. In fact, what we're going to do, the first thing we want to do when we're making a souffle is we want to get about 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, and we're going to take this and we're going to add it to our pan and melt it. Now there are 2 ways to do this. If you're not really comfortable with your stove, put about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water in your pan and then get a stainless steel bowl directly over the top. Once it's boiling, turn the heat down just a hair so it's more of a simmer, and then you can melt your chocolate over that. I feel pretty confident about this stove, and so I know where low is, and I know I'm not going to burn my chocolate if I do it right on a low heat. So I'm not afraid to live dangerously and do it on just a nice low temperature. So I'll take this 4 ounces of chocolate, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of regular old butter. While this is cooking, you want to find a nice heat-safe utensil and just keep stirring it. This stuff will melt quickly, and chocolate is notorious for burning if you get it too high of a heat. The butter does a little bit to help keep the burn point of the chocolate. It actually raises the temperature in which chocolate will burn. However, it still will burn. So be extra careful. Take your time. Let this just melt nice and soft. While our chocolate is melting, we're going to take our mixture with 3 egg whites. It's important you have a clean bowl. In fact, unless I personally clean the bowl right before I make meringue or whip egg whites, I don't use it. I always clean the bowl first. Even the tiniest bit of oil is going to make your meringue fail miserably. So we'll take 3 egg whites, we'll take a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and we'll give that. Let that start whipping. What you want to do is when you're mixing egg whites, you want to let it stir for a little bit until bubbles start to form at a low speed. Then when the bubbles start to really form and you know that you're starting to capture air inside the egg whites, that's when it's okay to turn up the heat. What we're trying to accomplish with these egg whites, egg proteins are like this big long spring. And as you mix it, it causes the spring to go back and forth and back and forth, taking those protein coils and stretching them out into these long strands. Well, those long strands interlock and hold air, and that's what makes a perfect meringue, are those protein strands. The fat, it blocks those protein strands, shortens them, and it makes it so you're never going to get a good meringue. We've got some bubbles forming here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn up the heat, and then we'll go check on the chocolate. Our chocolate is all melted, our butter is melted. To that, we're going to add, this is a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to add 2 egg yolks. And then we're going to add just a pinch, just a little tiny pinch of salt. We need that. The salt actually works to help your taste buds to better separate flavors, and actually will cause it to taste sweeter, believe it or not. So we'll take just a pinch of salt, and the rest we want to make sure we have good luck. So we want to take that and we'll put the heat back on over low heat. If you're using the double boiler, keep those egg yolks in with your chocolate. It may look like your chocolate gets a little grainy. That's okay. When we add the egg whites, we'll correct that. But what we want to do is we want to keep that over heat so that the egg yolks also the proteins in the egg yolks also start to cook a little bit. because that is going to further add structure to our souffle. But now that we've got our egg whites to a soft peak stage, we'll take and we'll add 1/3 cup of powdered sugar. Just gently add it in with the mixer on. Then once it's all incorporated, you can turn up the heat again. You'll know when your egg whites have made it to the hard peak stage when they start to lose their shininess, and then also when you pull the batter mixer out and you end up with this nice stiff peak. See how that stays up? It's still a little bit springy and spongy as you go back and forth, but it holds its peak. That's when you know your egg whites are done. That's what this whole recipe is about, creating structure where there is no structure. In fact, even the ramekins that we use, we use a smaller ramekin because the sides of the ramekin help create structure in our souffle. While that's cooking, while this is just sitting there for a second, we're going to set our oven to 400 degrees. And then we're going to butter the sides of these ramekins. I've got some butter here. You'll use about probably a tablespoon between 4 ramekins. And then take some granulated sugar, but you make sure that it's buttered really well. And then take a little granulated sugar and coat both the bottom and the sides. What this will do is the sugar will bond and create a reaction with the souffle batter, and it creates this really great crust around the souffle. So make sure that you do a nice sugar all the way up the sides. I can't tell you how delicious this is.